And we are recording.
Cool, cool. Yeah, we can go ahead and get started, and yeah, let's see more people join in later. But yeah, welcome everyone to our general meeting. We're super happy you're here, and if this is your first time here, we really want to get to know you. So we'll be putting a bunch of links in the chat as we go because there's a bunch of resources we have. So I wanted to start with just a quick poll. So let me put a link in the chat just so we can get a general feel for. We've been getting like literally like so many new members recently, so I just wanted to gauge like what everyone thought of the club and like what you just wanted to see in the future. So if I configured it right, you should be able to just enter like some events that you like to see. So for example, some of the events that we have right now are a mock interview event and our we also have like a coding help event. So just if you have any ideas for like other events, feel free to type them into the poll. So for example, for me, I probably want some more like coding help. Be cool. So it can be anything from like in person like events where we just hang out or yeah. Whoa, that sped up.
Oh, that's gonna get cluttered real quick.
Yeah, it's a
Project.
big word cloud.
Yeah, for real. What is that? Night team? Oh wait.
I think it meant to say game night because I see game just like
It
printed in
scrambles
the
Oh.
middle.
everything up. It just
Oh, that's right.
mixes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that confuses me so much.
Just a big.
Tried putting in a happy face, but for some reason it showed like a sad face. I don't know. I was like, what?
That's great. Yeah, this definitely gives us a good direction. So projects. So that will lead me to my next question, which is, what projects would you like to build to the club? And it should be updated. Yeah, okay,
Oop, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab a sparkling water because my room is really hot.
there.
If you have a computer running it all the time, it just heats up real quick.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Game. Yeah, browser extensions, gamer portfolio app, DevOps, Little Rover. Oh, that would be so cool. Like a little CSSO rover. Yeah, that would be awesome. I actually really love working with hardware as well. I think that would be a really cool project to think
Little Rover?
about.
Oh, that's a generous
Hmm.
description.
Plugin for an existing system, Microsoft Word or Excel or something we all use. I really like that. Or even something like mixing with the browser extension for Chrome or something that is specifically useful to coders. Like I've been using this extension, this Dark Reader one, and it's yeah, saves my eyes a lot of pain. Basically, everything's dark themed now, so it would be cool to build something to fix some other problems we have. A bug tracking software tool. Hmm, that would be cool. In-person Lego robot. Maybe we can mix
Hey,
that up with the little rover.
You know, I remember those robots like when I was younger too. Like those were actually pretty cool, but I never tried them.
What if we made some like little robot that like walked around like Highland campus and like promoted the club?
That'd be so cool.
I would be hyped if we could make a controller. Like
Imagine
that.
if like we had a small shirt for the robot to wear, like that said ACC Club.
That would be awesome.
For real.
All right, awesome. Yeah, let's talk about these more later, but let's move on to the next one. The next question is what times would work for an in-person meeting? And I put only a couple, but like in general, just like you can also type it in the chat because we just want to see like to gauge like where you would be at for Highland wise. Yeah. Uh,
Oh, I was actually wondering, like for these kinds of in-person meetings, would it be like maybe just 1 hour, or would it be like maybe a little bit longer than our usual online meetings?
I'd really like to have them like at least like 2 hours. I think for me, like the drive there to Highland is already an hour, so it's like for me it would be worth it to have it, like longer than 2 hours. And
Oh
like
yeah,
with the stuff that
I would have to take a bus, so like if I go, it would take me a while to get back.
Yeah, that makes
mm,
sense.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it'd be really cool to just get there and just code together. We would be probably like pretty casual. Maybe we'll have like a guest speaker come in or a professor, and then we could just code together. I think that's something I really miss from like in-person stuff.
yeah, definitely. We're
Yeah,
so limited to just like remote stuff, so I want to go back to like a traditional setting.
yeah, I know. Cool. So Saturday at 3 seems to be the winner for that. Now I'll put out a poll for the entire CS club. That way, those who can't make it to this meeting can also take a look and vote. It's awesome. Yeah. Right, last question. Uh, what topics would you like to learn more about?
You know, for a second I thought if they were the same color, that would mean they were the same statement, but I guess I'm wrong. They're just random.
Yeah. Right, Jordan. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think maybe we could even push it to 2, like if it were on Saturday. That way, because not like we'll just be driving back like pure traffic. Yeah, that's a good point. I think we should um, limit it to like Saturday meetings and then like work our way from there. So find like I don't know how many people want to be waking up on Saturday morning. So yeah, I don't know, maybe probably in the afternoon sometime then. Wow,
Yeah.
this is a lot.
Yeah, because I kind of like go to bed pretty late. Probably don't, yeah, to be honest. I know you only sleep for 1 hour, Nate, so I can't beat you there though.
Oh man, I need to fix my sleep schedule so bad.
The sleep just doesn't exist on your like schedule.
Uh,
Uh,
Are you like a stay up all night kind of person, Nate?
Generally, I'll go to bed at like 2, so it's not like crazy late either, but it's just,
It's about what I do.
yeah, it's
same
just
here.
code. Code just gets to me. Ooh, machine learning is getting big. Yeah, yeah, this is awesome. I think from what I see here, I'll get in contact with a professor that's strong in machine learning. Also, if um y'all want to hear more about it like directly, I think 2 meetings ago we had Professor Alex Katrampas, who's a PhD candidate at Texas State, and he's doing like data science and machine learning right now, and he actually spoke to us. So let me put a link in the chat to our lecture record. I mean, our yeah, he basically gave a lecture to us, and yeah, it's in the chat. So feel free to take a look at that. And he spoke like, oh, he shared so many cool things about machine learning there, and I think he even shared one of his personal projects. So yeah, definitely take a look at that. It's great. What's GIS? I've never heard of it. Does someone want to explain it? I have no clue what that is.
It put it in lowercase, but it's an acronym. It's GIS, graphic interface. No, I used to know what it is. It's like,
Geographic Information System?
yes, geographic information system. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
it's a thing that a lot of companies use to just plot maps and plot data across land. So like if you're trying to measure a certain amount of something across a large area, like that's very general, but like you can do voting heuristics, you can do like water quality, like there's endless stuff that people do GIS mapping for. And you very recently
Oh,
there's a bunch of
This looks
free
fancy.
3D softwares that I've been trying to play with.
I think I get what this does in theory, but it also looked very, very
Yeah,
complicated.
You
Google
can do a
Earth
lot with it, yeah.
seems like one of the more popular uses for this.
hmm. Interesting. I'll take a look, more of a look at that then. Well, that's great. Yeah, thanks everyone for your inputs. I'll be sharing this with the rest of the officer team. I think a lot of us weren't able to make it today, but normally we have a bigger officer team here, so yeah, we'll definitely keep all those stuff in mind. And yeah, thanks everyone for giving us your input. Um, so yeah, now to the announcements. So um, I don't know if you saw the announcement on the Discord server, but basically we ordered a pretty good prize from Student Life, and basically they give us like a certain amount of funds every semester to buy stuff for the club. So um, the before next general meeting, you can go over to the Discord server and invite people to the club. And if you do that, the person who invites the most people to the club will win that prize and we'll ship it out to you. So, yeah, it's just a way to promote the club, and yeah, we'll be able to track like who invites who, and yeah, so you feel free to like share with your class as long as like you have your professor's permission and all of that. So yeah, I think that would be a great way to grow the club. Um, we've also been having, I think the meeting times have been more irregular recently, but we've been having mock interviews where we ask each other behavioral questions like tell me about yourself, or like why are you applying to this job, or like tell me one of your weaknesses, or like how do you handle stress, and then we just go around and we talk. So we try to keep it like as like chill as possible, because I think most of us like haven't gone through that interview process yet, so we're just working through it. But yeah, I think a couple of us who have done those have already got jobs, so including myself. So I recently got a job offer. So yeah, it just shows that like that time just spending like talking to each other and just getting comfortable with those questions really pays off. And we've also been having homework help sections. So basically, if you're stuck on something, you can hop into the Discord, and we're normally online at those times, and we'll definitely help you out. So the biggest announcement we have for this general meeting is our hackathon. So as a club, we're planning to host a hackathon at the Highland campus, and the time is still to be determined. But basically, it'll be like a an overnight thing or just a 2 day thing. So we're still planning out details with the officer team, and we're gonna have a bunch of guest speakers and workshops and sponsors to come just make the event way bigger. So basically, we'll start giving out more information soon. But if you don't know, a hackathon is um, basically a coding competition, but the thing is that you don't need to like be super good at code because it's really about thinking of a good idea that impacts your world. So I can actually share a couple examples of. So this is my portfolio basically of some of the hackathons that I've been at. So these are the projects. Actually, all four of these have been from people within the club, so that's pretty cool. So for this one, Universe Safe, it was at UT's hackathon, and we built like a SMS based system where if you're like you feel unsafe, you can text something to this text number, and basically it'll broadcast your location to like all the people around you, like around like your 2 mile radius that are signed up. So basically, like it'll allow people to get to you faster, hopefully, than like the authorities can. So it's just a project that we made, and we've made some other projects like an overlay to help deaf or hard of hearing people see sound. So a bunch of those projects. So basically, a hackathon is just a time where you work with a team to build a project. And like for all four of these projects, they weren't like super polished either. And we definitely needed to like, and we were probably going to work on them more in the future. So it's just a great way to meet new people and stuff. So
It
yeah, that's huh.
if you want to have any projects in your resume, this is hackathons will arguably be like the fastest that you can do them, because you'll have because the way most hackathons work is that you're doing them in a team, so you're combining all of your specialties, or in some cases like me where you don't have a specialty, you will learn a lot from just trying to do something, and you'll still have credit.
Right,
So
right.
don't feel too intimidated in regards to like entering one of these things.
Yeah, I mean, I was a total noob. I mean, the one post that Nate's on right now, Greenfields, like I just felt like a total noob, but still, I mean, I joined them, and it's still such a cool experience to even go like and just see how like the whole process is and everything. Um, we are staying up late, but I mean, it's like it's a matter of like just working hard through it, and if you don't like, you know get first place or whatever, at least you had that experience and you could put that on your resume. Um, but it's cool. I mean, I liked it a lot.
It
Yeah,
should be noted also that I like some people might not agree with this, but the time limit kind of helps a lot because it puts you in the mindset of really trying to figure out what can you reasonably do in like a
Yeah.
day. Like one of the biggest problems I've noticed with a lot of like beginners in a lot of fields really is that you tend to chew far more than you can really handle, and like the just figure out what exactly you can do and you'll be fine.
yeah, that's like 100% true. Like a lot of times at hackathons, like you'll bite off more than you could chew, and you have to realize like, oh, I probably shouldn't have tried to use machine learning in this. I should have just just hard coded it because it's a hackathon. So yeah, I think hackathon, like honestly, if you feel like you've just been taking classes, like that's what I felt. My first hackathon was December of last year, so like 3 months ago, and I literally like I hadn't built like any significant project at all, and I was just I don't know, just being like a normal student, and then I realized that with a hackathon, like you just need to have one great experience, and then after that, you'll just like I got hooked, and like I just every time I see a hackathon, I want to participate or like just learn more about it because they're really good experiences to learn, and like especially if you're a beginner, that's like the best way to learn quickly. Um, so oh yeah, also to answer your question, Jordan, sorry I didn't see it, but we have the drive, so if you wanna direct message me your ACC email, I can add you to that Google Drive where it has everything. Yeah, so like we talked about earlier, we're planning to also have a Friday and Saturday meetings. So it's still temporary. I'll announce it after we check with the officers, but most likely our next general meeting will be on a Saturday instead, and we're still figuring out the time, but that way we can have some more people there and just I know that there's like at least 10 people that have messaged me who aren't able to make these meetings, so I think it would be perfect. And lastly, next week we're gonna have our collaboration with the Texas Blockchain Club, which is basically their cryptocurrency club, and they're gonna have a guest speaker from this company called Quai, that they do like crypto related stuff, and yeah, he's gonna speak to us about the basics of the blockchain and stuff. So yeah, oh yeah, yes, honey.
So I did some research on blockchain and I tried understanding what it is, but I didn't fully understand it. So could you please briefly describe it to me?
Um, There's someone here more knowledgeable than myself because I basically watch like 2 YouTube videos on it too, so I have like really little experience.
Is it like a central, what do you call it? Like, let's say you have a project and there's like a central, I don't know, central system where like you keep track of it. Is that what blockchain is, or am I wrong?
Um, I know, yeah. So it's like a decentralized system. So basically, this is gonna be so hard to explain. I should probably just send a video because I barely understand it as it is. But it's basically like
Yeah.
a decentralized system to manage currency. So every person will have like a ledger, which is basically like a. I'm just gonna explain this incorrectly. I should probably just send a link. If someone could find one, that would be great. Because like,
They
I
got
don't
one on
think I can.
Invest. Let me see. They got one on Investopedia, which I think is pretty good. It sounds. I don't know if there's like a link. I could probably find one that like really explains it in layman's terms though, like somewhere. But yeah, we're all kind
Yeah.
of learning blockchain as well. That's actually why we wanted to invite the blockchain members, because they're gonna describe it to us like in like really good detail since they've worked with that kind of software. So we're more like on the side of like software development on like I guess you could say data science, but that's
The,
my forte.
the most I know about blockchain is that it effectively involves a math formula that you have to like keep getting it correct every time in order to prove a transaction is real. But every time you prove the transaction is real, it adds like another value to the formula. And so like because I think that's what the block is, and so they just keep like literally forming like a chain of like interactions with each other that you can't fake that interaction, so like it's effectively like breakable or unreadable. But like I'm hoping the blockchain club will be able to explain this better for us mortals.
Yeah. Read what Todd said. That summarizes it really well. Yeah, it's like a
Oh,
essentially like a digital ledger of transactions that is duplicated and distributed across the entire network of computer systems on the blockchain. So, yeah, like it's a digital ledger that shows a record of all the transactions, and the way that you can prove that those transactions are correct is through the mathematical formula, like you were saying, Jason, which is called like a hash.
Got it. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. You probably want to attend next week's meeting. So, I mean, next, yeah, is that next week? Oh yeah, next week's meeting, so we can.
What time is it? I'm not sure if you mentioned it.
It'll be the same time as this general meeting. So, yeah, five to six next week, and
Got it.
yeah,
I'll be.
they'll be going into it. Awesome, awesome. So that being said, just keep an eye out for upcoming events, and yeah, interview prep. Yeah, we went over that as well. So now I wanted to introduce our club advisor, Professor Ali, who's gonna talk to us a bit about like his personal experience with code and stuff. So yeah, whatever you wanted to share.
All right. I don't know how to start. I'm an introvert guy, very shy person, you know. So some of you might have seen me in class, some of you might not. Programming, I started college in the 80s actually, long time ago, because before you most were born, and I was a biology major. I want to be a doctor, got admission to medical college, ready to rock and roll. Hated computer. I don't know why I'm in computer right now. So throughout years, I've learned that in the beginning, actually, motivation is the most important thing. How I got motivated, actually, the most beautiful girl on campus came and asked me to help her in COBOL. Man, COBOL was not my entree. Programming was something I hated the most in my life, okay? So I asked for 2 weeks for her, and guess what? I really learned COBOL. I motivated myself, then help her out in Pascal and all those things. So I decided, what the heck? Let me go ahead and get a degree in computer science. And 80s, when PCs came into play, actually, after being motivated by her, I was building my own computers, dropping cables and making small codes, generating random number for a company, gave me $2,000 cash. So I made some money during that time as a kid, all right? Slowly, I went into developing a lot of programs in the market. I have the code, but I have to transfer them from zip drive and different drives I have. Floppy drive, if you have seen this floppy drive, I still have those machines at home, right? I did a lot of programming in what do you call that? Those things when you go to the mall, they put your name there. They give you a history of where your name came from. I did those kind of programming in Visual Basic. All right. So all those things started in 80s when I was motivated by her. Then I decided that just having a programming remember that programming can be defined in different terms. Actually, you can be a hardcore programmer developing a lot of tools for Python and using C++, C sharp, or all those things, or you can use the tools and run with the application. So I prefer in the beginning I used to do those hard coding, but later on I thought that takes too much of your time to do that, and you cannot interact with people. So I began to develop applications, and basically I've did a lot of application. Clipper, you don't know? Have anybody heard about Clipper? It was a very big application they used to use, and a lot of state and government software are still in Clipper. All right. So they still use that. And there was something called FoxPro or something like that database, and very very popular during that 80s and 90s. Right. And late 90s, I developed a software for scanning. You scan OCR, your document, and scan them, put them in a CD, millions and millions of docs. So I wrote that Visual Basic code, did a lot of scanning, millions and millions of documents for people. That's an application using a lot of Visual Basic tools, right? But somebody else developed the third-party tools, and I don't want to develop those things because you have to maintain them based on what kind of hardware and what kind of operating system you're using. It's better to use them rather than starting from scratch. So did that. So decided that the whole reason is that I put myself in biology, in chemistry. I also had math and computer science. Went to MBA, learned about finance and accounting. So I diversified myself in very different ways. So in the real world, I can use whatever knowledge I have. Having a hardcore computer science degree or a CIS degree is better to understand a little bit what is your interest in. That gives you more, you know, potential in the real world rather than just doing certain things, in programming. How do I want to make this machine? I want to do this. But learn something about my suggestion. That's my idea, by the way. I don't want to impose anything on anybody, but learn something. You're good in accounting or biology or chemistry or math. I remember one time I went to a programming interview, the guy asking me accounting debit and credit and all those things. He's a math guy and computer science guy. What does he know about accounting? So he asks questions which are wrong. In the interview, I told him, sir, this question is wrong. This is the way it should work in debit and credit in the real world because I have the background. I didn't get the job, 100% sure. He hated me after that because I changed his way of doing things. But in the programming environment, I learned it and did work for the government as a project manager. I got MBA, I got a PMP certificate, I got ITIL certificate. But at the end of the day, it's very important how will you interact, what kind of jobs you want to do, right? A lot of people chooses hardcore programming. Some people chooses to be a programmer using the application. Some people chooses to be a business analyst or a project manager. Depends on your knowledge, right? I have a lot of students who took my classes in the beginning as Python, C++, and Oracle, other things. They end up being project manager by getting a PMP certificate. And that's something that, they like to talk. They like to improvise themselves. Or some of them doesn't like to code, or some of them became business analysts. So there are a lot of avenues in computer science, but that don't put your bucks in one place. Always put your eggs in many places. So if one thing is lost, you can go to the other section and improvise. Anybody have any question? Ask me. I'll be glad to answer them. As much as possible. I'm speaking with my Texas accent. That very hard for people to understand with my almost 95-year-old. So it is very important. You all are doing a great job, doing the interview and demonstrate. I suggested today, you have to grow the interest of the person, right? What interests you the most? You're looking at the end product and then going reverse engineering to where it came from. Sometimes that helps a lot. Okay, I used to play Pac-Man in 1980s in a big machine, right? Day and night playing Pac-Man. Do you know what Pac-Man is, guys? You don't know Pac-Man? Never heard of Pac-Man?
We
Oh,
know
wow.
Pac-Man.
Big machine, quarter, and it is amazing. I used to
No,
waste
I don't even know
7
arcades.
7 in the morning, from 12 to 7, I am putting quarters in the machine to play the game. It really interested me. So I went to know that. I used Fortran 4, where I drew a space shuttle and let it lift off. There were thousands and thousands of lines of code. It's hard coding to do that. But nowadays, you have tools to do that. There are a lot of tools are there that will help you to rotate something and other things. So my suggestion is that, expand your knowledge base. Not only what you learn in class, get something which you're interested in. Also, I've suggested before, in your resume, in in 80s, the programmers are just sitting down and coding. But nowadays, you have to sit down with the users in an agile environment. You have to ask them questions rather than you sit down. I remember in 80s, I used to have 5 cigarettes in my mouth and coding day and night and, to get some bugs out of it. But nowadays, you're there with the users, interact with them, in an agile environment, learn those things.
Wait, what do you mean by
those
that?
things.
What do you mean sit
Huh?
down with the use? Wait, what do you mean sit down with the users? Like talk to the clients on what kind of features they want?
The stakeholders in a project in the real world, they sit
Mhm.
down with the developers and the business analysts and they ask each other questions, how things will be done. That is the real trend of basically all the programmers are doing an application, right? They
Right.
don't come and give it to you a requirement. This is the requirement. You are part of the requirement gathering. You are part of the JAT session. You all know what a JAT session is, right? A
No.
joint application development where you meet with the users and the business managers, the stakeholders, and listen to the requirements and then clarify those requirements. And a business analyst can develop the document that there's a write-up of all the things they talked about. And they verify it make sure. And then they go to agile session, which is basically a month long, less than a month long, 3 weeks, right? And they develop not the whole thing, a part of the entire projects. And then they integrate with the next agile. So those kind of things are going on in the real world. So learn Visio, learn Microsoft Project, learn, you can download Microsoft Jira, not Microsoft Jira, Jira is different application. Jira, you can download that because it's end of the day, proof is the pudding, right? You have to show your bandwidth by integrating yourself with the company. Anybody has any question?
I'm just wondering because your company, it seems like kind of made everyone sit with the customer. But when I was working at my software company, they had like someone designated for that role to talk to the customer, and then they would relay that information back to the project managers, and then that would be talked with among like a sprint review or a sprint meeting. Um, because like I know it can be sometimes a hassle for everyone to go to a meeting when programmers just want to code and they just want that information relayed back to them, like, okay, what feature am I going to work on? And typically that's discussed in the sprint, like the sprint planning. Yeah, like you were saying,
It depends. It depends how you want to develop the sprint planning. The way I did the sprint planning, basically, I have the users, the stakeholders, sit down with the developers and business analysts, right? And rate each task, what has to, out of the entire system, how many tasks we're going to encounter, how many hours it will take to finish the work. And I got the programmers involved because the way I did my project management, actually, I don't want to go back to the programmer and then change the words. So I had all the business analysts, everybody in the same room, review the requirements, the part of the requirements, or the total requirement, and what is the end goal of the thing. So different companies follow different way, but real agile sprints basically gets involved in the jazz session. Everybody,
Mhm.
right? The developers, the business analyst, project manager. They don't like to invite the managers because they try to improvise their own way of doing things. So that's all depends on how you do things. But all the project I manage in the agile method is basically I got everybody involved so that
Mhm.
A knows B, because it's very important the interaction with the users. Because when testing comes in, the users get involved, in the
Mhm.
users testing because we have to have internal testing that has to be done.
I
Most
kind of
of the Go ahead.
I kind of like that actually, because I know sometimes the customer will want something that's way out of the scope of the project. Like if the feature is just ridiculously large and impossible to do within the time frame. I mean, the developer could honestly just be like, that is out of the scope of the 2 week sprint, and you're trying to make the delivery by the end of the month. So I I get where that could definitely come in hand instead of just relaying information from one person to the other person and then finally the developers. So but yeah, that's how my team did it. I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, it depends actually, because I used to do that in the waterfall method when I used to acquire all the data information. When I have 40 programmers working for me, I go there, drive, fly to Pennsylvania, get the requirement, come over here, and get things done, give it to them. And they asked me, is it red color or blue color they want? I said, I don't know. Let me go and call them up. But in the real world nowadays, I bring them to the table, everybody, and let them discuss. I sit down as a project manager, make sure it doesn't go beyond the scope. And remember, in a situation like that, everybody, including the stakeholder, decide this is the project, this is the task in the agile sprint. How long will it take for you to complete this task? Some people can come out with 80, some people got 80 hours, some people 60 hours, 40 hours. Then they look at whether they are in certain kind of alignment of same hours. Because I can think some programming, I can do it in 5 hours. Somebody can do the same programming in 50 hours, right? Somebody can do it in 3 hours. So everybody has to come up to a sync. Why did I choose 50 hours? What is the reason? What is missing? What else you need in the coding? What kind of tools you need? And that is very critical. And the business project manager basically goes and checks with how the progress is working. Every morning you have to have a sprint meeting to see the progress. All right. And then you have to go and see the project manager. I had one guy, believe it or not, he said, my program is working in my computer. I go and use it in my computer, it doesn't work. You know,
That's happened to me so many
man,
times.
that what's wrong with the guy? He's working in your computer, but yeah, should I take it to million users all over the state to use it? No, you cannot do that. Also, the other thing is that remember that in the new environment, you can develop gaming, you can like business analyst, you can be any field, you know. But a lot of programs are developed in 70s, 60s in COBOL, RPG, Clipper, all those kind of things. Even the DPS has all programs. In the green screen, you don't know, see those, but they have a overlay over the green screen so you don't realize it is interacting. The migration of data from old system to the new system is getting more popular nowadays, and having a cell phone where the data is not stored in Oracle database, is data stored in NoSQL, you know, all this kind of flat database is stored in. So a lot of avenues are there where you have to improvise. So my suggestion to you guys, sometimes, have half an hour lecture or presentation by someone who is good in Visio or Jira or something that will take, you can put in a resume. That makes sense? Your portfolio. You are doing things is very good. The way you are doing your portfolio, but put those tools. That helps a lot. And
Yeah.
having a PMP, having an MBA, there's no difference between PMP and MBA, by the way. It's PMP is something which you can get it as long as you have manager's experience and some courses. Okay. MBA, you have to have 3.5 GPA in undergraduate to do that, right? So there is a lot of things you can do that. And for my past experience, I was an academic counselor for 10 years, career counselor, academic counselor at university in Austin. And I have interacted with students. I realize what they need, you know, and what kind of experience you should have. So the end of the day is not the money, is the success in life. Don't follow the money, guys, right? Money will follow you. Let the money follow you. Do your work. Makes
What
sense?
was that book you recommended before? I forget because you had a book
I
you
have
recommended.
I as a programmer, as a developer, you should always know what kind of personality. There's a personality test you have to take. Myers-Briggs. Myers-Briggs is costly, but you can take Keirsey Temperament Sorter. That's free. Talks about your personality. Having introvert or extrovert, judgmental, a lot of things will talk about yourself. You need to know yourself, know thyself before you do anything. And never think that you don't have the brain. Everybody has the same brain to accomplish anything they want. Look at me, biology to computer, only because of a beautiful woman, right? Only. Same thing. I did never like accounting. A beautiful girl from San Antonio came over, wants help in intermediate accounting. I said, what the hell is that? I said, give me 2 weeks. Let me start learning. I did the same thing. You know, love is blind, guys, but sometimes blindness is a disease. Okay. So know the
Yeah, thanks
network.
so much for sharing.
Yeah, yeah. Let me know any way I can help. I know it's time to go. Any question comes up, let me know. And some of you might have been in my class. I'm not sure. But uh, you know my name, and you can email me anytime you want, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. Any way I can help, please feel free. Okay. And it's a pleasure meeting you guys and be an advisor to this club. I might not be in all the meetings because I have other things in life I'm doing. Um, I'll be glad to be helping you guys. Okay, sounds good. Any question for me?
Yeah,
Wish
thank
you
you
all
so
the
much.
make it
Yeah,
happen. Okay.
yeah, I think your story about how you switched from biology to CS is really inspiring. Like, you don't need to always start off knowing everything or like where your path's gonna go. But yeah,
Yep. You don't know where you will end up. You never know where you will end up at the end of the day. As long as you know your basics, math. Learn math, guys. You'll be in good shape. Okay.
uh,
All right.
definitely.
No problem. Okay, guys. I will stop now. I know it's time to go, but any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll be glad to help. And I will coordinate with Nathan and our team to see we can do some 15, 20 minutes presentation on Jira or Visio and, or Microsoft project. Okay.
Definitely.
All I
Yeah,
know
thank you
is
so
that I will
much.
William, I'll be glad to answer that. At this age, at 95, I'm 95 years old, turned today. I don't know enough. More you learn, more you feel like you don't know anything. And that's the attitude we should have because we cannot learn everything. You know what I mean? And more you know, more you feel like you don't know enough. So that's a good sign. That means you need to learn more. You need to motivate yourself more. Learning never ends. Learning never should end in your life. It is a process. And the day where you say, I learned everything, I know it, that day you should say, I quit. In my class, when I teach, I tell them, I don't know everything. You're welcome to share with me what I don't know, and I will grow with you. Okay, let's do it together, guys. All right, I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, thank you so much again. Yeah, so yeah, that's really great. Just absorbing it all. All right. Yeah, one of the projects that we've been working on recently, we've been meeting like every week, is our website portfolio. So I'm not sure if this week we're gonna have a meeting. We might push it to Sunday, but basically what we do during those meetings is build our personal websites. So these personal websites are really useful when you're contacting employers or like, for example, I can put a link to mine in the chat, but I'm actually thinking of redesigning mine because yeah, I don't really like how it looks anymore. But yeah, basically it's just a way to have all your projects, all your skills, everything about you under one website. So I think it's a great way to share your skills, and actually we have a couple templates there already. So basically if you join any of those meetings, you don't even know what you're doing, and we keep it really chill, and we just guide you through the process of building your own website. So if you just come consistently, you'll be able to get it up really quickly, and for free too, because of some GitHub student developer packs. um, Yeah, another project we have is our browser game, which has been kind of on the standstill lately. But we're gonna have our next meeting tomorrow afternoon. I think Jason will be sharing a little bit more with us. And yeah, if you wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So the browser game project, I've mentioned this before in previous meetings, I'm pretty sure, but like basic summary. This was originally a project from last semester, and that didn't exactly go anywhere because we were still kind of disorganized compared to how we were like the start of this semester. Um, the biggest problem with this project come this semester was that all the project leads that were going to lead it were just swamped with work, and nobody could actually do. And nobody was available to really just start on it. With the coming meeting tomorrow, um, we're going to have to figure out what exactly we want to do with this project. As it stands, there seems to be two options. The first one is that we treat it like the website portfolio, in that everybody just has their own individual game project and they will show off their progresses and such every meeting. just so that we can encourage each other and maybe pass ideas. The second option, which was what the original plan was, is that we try to make a video game together and like have some experience working in like a studio like setting. You know, we'll task we'll task different things to different people depending on what your proficiencies are, and we'll figure it out. Since tomorrow's going to be our quote unquote first meeting, we'll see which one of those two gains the most traction. If you're here now and you're interested in talking about it, I guess will be the day for where you like have some time to think about it. Even if yes, Jordan. Even if you have no experience in video game design, because at the end of the day, the game project is also supposed to encourage coding as well, like which is why, regardless of with either way we go with this, we have to talk about on a baseline level tomorrow, if we're going to be sticking with JavaScript or not, which is arguably one of the big roadblocks from the first time we suggested it, because JavaScript is not a very popular gaming language.
Yeah, I mean, so are we just gonna kind of brainstorm that meeting, like to figure out like what would be the language that we should choose?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
the popular opinion seems to be Python, because
Or C++.
yeah, well Python specifically because everybody has some experience in it, and we don't want to alienate anybody in particular. For example, like I took C# for one of my classes, and that's like in the workspace, C# isn't used as much as like say C++ or Python. But you know,
yeah,
if you want to make a game in the Unreal Engine, which is highly used in the video game market, then C# will like just be there for you. So
yeah, and honestly, yeah, Python also, like you can do a bunch of multiplayer stuff with that. I've built some multiplayer games, like fully multiplayer games, with Python and Pygame. Yeah, I could show some of my projects in Pygame as well, so we can just get it going. I just really want to get some code down and just start getting at it basically.
I made a minor mistake. Yeah, C# is used with Unity. C++ is used with Unreal, which arguably maybe that's kind of like adding to the point of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anybody that has any thoughts or like suggestions, feel free to mull it over for a bit, and we can talk more about it tomorrow.
Yeah,
And
and
yeah.
last thing before we have to end, I just wanted to share how you would be able to invite people to our Discord server. So if you're not in this Discord server, this is basically where we have all of our events. We have our mock interview events. We have all of our projects here. We have a coding help section where you can ask any questions in any languages you have, and we have like a library section. We have a bunch of links and stuff. So, yeah, the way you would invite people is just at the top, and you would go to invite people, and then you can generate an invite link that doesn't expire. And basically, if you generate this, you can send it to whoever you want, as long as they're an ACC, and you don't specifically need to be a CS student. So feel free to like share with your entire class, or yeah, we just want to get more people in here so we can build cooler things and do great things. So yeah, we'll be able to track all of that, and yeah, we'll basically give out the prize next meeting. So we'll be announcing who invited the most people to the club by then. So yeah, I guess just get to inviting. Yeah, so did anyone have any other questions or suggestions or anything else? I think next week we'll definitely have more of a concrete topic that we talk about with the blockchain and crypto. So yeah, that'll be great.
Entry level stack development. Anybody know what entry level stack development is in the chat?
Wait,
Do you mean more like a tech stack? Like,
I know full stack. I know what that is. That's back end, front end development.
like a data structure or something, like a stack data structure and a queue. Oh,
sequential
okay.
stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, the stack where you have like the first in, last out, right? Is that how it is? Yeah, it's something like that.
If anybody can find
Yeah.
anything, maybe post it in the
Wait.
Discord so that everybody kind of knows.
Right. Yeah, so basically these general meetings are mostly just announcements and normally we'll have like a specific topic, but really if you want to start on those projects, we don't work on them in our general meetings, so we work on them always off these general meetings. So yeah, we'll basically in the Discord server it has all the events that are coming up. Right now we don't have any, but yeah, we'll update that. I'll update that today. Um, yeah, but I've got to run to another meeting now, so yeah, it was great to talk to everyone, and yeah, thanks y'all for coming again. I really appreciate it.
Yep, good job, everyone. We'll see you all next week at the minimum.
Yeah. See y'all next week.
Yeah,
Take care.
see y'all. Take care. See you.